Here in the commodities video, part 2, the focus is going to be on bringing the flat file for commodities into the database. So we import the .csv file into SQL Server, and we are going to change the names of the attributes and the data types as shown below. Let's go ahead and import this .csv file into SQL Server. We go to our database, we right-click, and we find Tasks, choose it, and then Import Flat File. Here is our flat file wizard, and we'll choose Next. And now it wants the location of our file. I'm going to find it on my disk, click Open, and it starts. I'm going to go Next, Next. One thing I'm going to do is allow for nulls, and I'm just going to bring it in like this, and then I'll make some more adjustments. Click Next, Finish, Close. If I right-click here and choose Refresh, then I can look at my tables and I see that I have commodities. Now that we've imported our commodities data, let's go look at the data types and the column names, and we're going to have to make some adjustments. So let's right-click on Commodities, choose Design, and notice here are our column names, and here are the data types. Now, these are pretty self-explanatory. This is the trade date, the open price, high, low, close, adjusted closing price, volume. But this name right here is actually the ticker symbol. So we're going to change the name of the column. We could change it like this. Then we could move it towards the top. And we continue to make adjustments. When you're done, this is what you want the table to look like. So commodity name is first, and for now that's going to be blank. Ticker symbol, which we renamed and moved to the top. And then you can see each of the other column names, and it's set up nicely now so that we can write queries from it eventually. Now that we have all of our commodity data imported, we've made some adjustments to the data type, added a new column, and rearranged the order. We still have one task left to do, and that is to update the commodity name column. So if we come over here to Commodities, and we notice that this commodity name column is all null. So we need to update that, and we'll do this with a series of update statements. So we update commodities, set commodity name equal to, and then we do that where it's the correct ticker symbol. So you see crude oil expressed in dollars per barrel, gold, lean hogs. Now when we get here to lumber, it looks like I've got a hard return, but I just did that for visual purposes so you could see it without it running off the screen. Typically I would not have this embedded space right here, but it'll still run. And so we see sugar, soybeans, and Chicago winter wheat. So let's go ahead, execute that, and let's look at our commodity table again. We need to refresh it. And there we see, here's our commodity name. So this is now perfect. It's got everything in it of the 9 commodities, and then we will need to add orange juice here in just a moment. Now that we have 9 of the 10 commodities downloaded and put into the database, let's turn our attention to the 10th commodity, which was orange juice. If you'll remember, we had to download that manually, so we are going to import the flat file for orange juice into the database, and then we're going to bring it from the orange juice table into the same table where all of the other commodities are. So let's right-click on our database, choose Tasks, choose Import Flat File. I'm going to try to resize this window so we can see it. Move this into the screen here. We'll click Next. Now we go look for the location. The file is called Orange that I downloaded. and I proceed through the wizard. Now I'm going to again allow for nulls, and the flat file that I downloaded didn't have any column names, it just had data. So let's go ahead and just take the defaults and get this imported. We notice that it says success. We've now imported the raw data for orange juice. Let's look at the table structure itself. Here it is, and we notice that we just have column names 1 through 8, and we have the data types. This is just kind of what SQL Server guessed at, and none of those are right. So let's close this. Let's take a look at our data. And this first column is the trade date, and this is the open price. Column 3 is the high price. 4 is the low price. 5 is the closing price. Column 6 is the adjusted closing, which we didn't have with orange juice, but we had with all of the other commodities. Column 7 is volume. Column 8 is the commodity name. Column 8 wants to be column 1, so we'll have to make some adjustments. We also have to insert a new column called ticker symbol, which is the symbol for orange juice. Ultimately, this is what we want the table to look like. So this commodity name needs to be first, ticker symbol, trade date, open price, high, low, close, adjusted close, and volume. And notice the data types here have all been adjusted so that they match up with our commodities table. We're pretty close to having the orange juice table ready, but we have to still make one more adjustment. Let's look at the data. And notice we have the commodity name here, but nothing in the ticker symbol column. We have the trade date and all the prices. So we need to make an adjustment so that we can get ticker symbol into this table. So we do an update statement, and it's an update, the table name orange. We set the ticker symbol equal to, and this OJ equals F, that is the symbol for orange juice futures. So I execute it. Then I can go back here to my orange table, view the contents, and I notice that the ticker symbol now has values in it. The last thing we need to do with our orange table then is to give it a proper commodity name. I like to have names where it's descriptive, and so this is orange juice expressed in pennies per pound, where ticker symbol is equal to the ticker symbol for orange juice. So if it's another commodity, it might be expressed in dollars and cents, and it's important to do that. So let's change this commodity name, execute, and now we've got that changed. Let's go to our orange, and if we look at the commodity name, then it has the full expressed in pennies per pound. So now it's ready to be inserted into the master table. This is great because we have our commodities imported and set up, as well as an orange juice table. Now this example is going to nicely serve to show how to put everything from one table into another table while making sure that it doesn't already exist there. So here's the query that does it, and it is a correlated subquery. It's correlated because I have this orange table here, and I have the commodities table here, and I'm joining those two tables here. So it's essentially saying insert into commodities from the orange juice table as long as it doesn't already exist in the commodities table. Now this query only works if the commodities table and the orange juice table have the same columns and they have the same data types. So let's run this, and it does say that it was inserted. Just for fun, to test it, see if you run it again, you should get 0. And the second time we ran it, we got 0. So now we have all of the commodities, including the orange juice, in our commodities table. This is great. Now we have all 10 commodities and all their pricing data into an SQL table. The data types are appropriate and the naming conventions are consistent. So the next video will assume that we have data in SQL tables, and then we'll do analysis on that data both with SQL and Python.